The Ministry of Finance and the Public Service presents Let's Talk Finance, a feature exploring the various elements of the economic program.
Welcome again to Let's Talk Finance here on Nationwide 90 FM. So good to be here with you and with delivering this program. My guest this week is Melanie Williams. She is Project Coordinator, National Financial Inclusion Strategy. Melanie, of course, I'm going to use a section of your bio just to introduce you to the folks who aren't familiar with you, Melanie. I hope you don't mind. Don't blush now. And I don't mean that like Chris Gale did. Melanie is an attorney at law, admitted to practice as a barrister in the British Virgin Islands. That was in the year 2000. She was subsequently admitted to the Jamaican bar in 2002. She holds a Bachelor of Laws and a Master of Business Administration in International Business, both from the UWI Mona, and a legal education certificate from the Norman Manley Law School, also at UMona. Melanie is National Financial Inclusion Coordinator, as I noted, and lead in the Financial Inclusion Technical Secretariat for the National Financial Inclusion Council. A lot to say about Dynamo, compact lady. Melanie, welcome to the program. Once again, you're returning.
Thank you so much, George, for having me on the program again. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so we're talking about financial inclusion, of course, because we couldn't be talking about anything else. There are some questions to ask. I am going to list them in turn, and of course, you give me the response. Do state the functions of the BOJ and the Financial Inclusion Technical Secretariat, of course, highlighting areas where there is sophisticated dovetailing then.
Thank you for that question. So the Bank of Jamaica's main role at this time is coordinating the implementation of the various action items under the strategy. We have in BOJ set aside resources to fund and to establish a Financial Inclusion Technical Secretariat, which reports directly to the governor. And that secretariat really performs the activities of ensuring that within house we gather the relevant data, that is needed rather to measure the financial inclusion indicators. We also interface with the public and interface with our financial inclusion partners, many of whom are ministries and agencies and departments that fall under the remit of a particular minister.
Mm-hmm. Very well. The National Financial Literacy Plan, what is that plan and how has implementation gone?
So that plan was actually developed and with the funding from the IDB, the Inter-American Development Bank, last year, and it was spearheaded by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, in conjunction with Bank of Jamaica, as well as the Financial Services Commission, the Ministry of Finance, and a number of other agencies that had also participated, JDIC, for example, the Consumer Affairs Commission. And essentially, it pulled together the different initiatives being implemented by various entities in the public sector under an umbrella. So we now have a National Financial Literacy Action Plan that has been approved in May 2018, and we are now at the beginning steps of actually implementing it. The first step is to have a baseline survey done, which will inform how we roll out the program. Mm-hmm. The National Financial Literacy Plan, which we have rebranded as the Jamaica Financial Empowerment Program, you would have heard the Honourable Minister Williams, Favour Williams, speak to that. That's actually targeted towards youth who are within schools, as well as youth that are at risk. And we have really benefited from the insights from a number of other stakeholders in the process, including the JDF, including the work done by the Jamaica Constabulary Force, as well as the HART NTA and its branches, so to speak. So all of that comes together, and where we now need to move is actually now begin the process of targeting key messages through very specific delivery channels, targeting them towards the youth, making the content easy to understand, empowering them to make proper decisions, and teaching them the value of money. It has to do with finance rather than math. Yeah. And we recognize the cultural biases or the barriers, if you will, to understanding complex matters. So we intend to build on a lot of work that has been done. In this area, the Financial Services Commission has been at the vanguard. They are in 18 schools, and they have partnered with Junior Achievement to deliver financial education content. We've also benefited from the work being done by the Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League, as well as the Development Bank of Jamaica. And so we seek to build on the lessons learned in delivery of that content and actually really tailor programs and interventions that make sense.
Excellent. I know that much public education has gone into talking about the national financial literacy and the plans around it and the coordinating entities, the partnering entities, and what it intends to do. But you know how things are, Melanie. We're in the information overload age. There are so many things running around in the atmosphere, the universe, as people say. People might miss things. Someone listening to us now and say, okay, but when she says financial literacy, what does it mean for me, Joe Blow or Jane Blow? What is that? How is that relevant to my reality? Your response?
My response is that money is what we all need to survive in this day and age. Indeed, the entirety of the financial inclusion strategy is about financial empowerment. So essentially, why should it matter to you? It matters to you because at each stage of your life, you need to have the financial services and the information and the products that are tailored to your cash flow, your understanding of what you need to buy a home, educate yourself or your children,
Yes.
to be able to actually establish a business and set the foundation so that you can begin to have reserves to call on in the case of an emergency. And you'd have risk mitigation products like insurance products. And also you need to take the next step about building your own wealth. But to do that, you need information that's actually tailored to you.
Yes.
So financial inclusion and financial literacy is much more than just loans, because we want to avoid a situation where our population is caught in a cycle of debt. Instead, what we are seeking to do is actually empower the entrepreneur, empower the youth as we move into a green and a blue economy, indeed as we implement our digital economy, so that they know that at this stage of life I need to begin the process of retirement planning, even if I'm only 28.
Absolutely.
Things like that.
Yeah. 2017, for 2017, your annual report for that year has been published. A quick overview or the highlights, the 2 or 3 main highlights from the annual report 2017.
From the annual report, we noticed that we were progressing in the right direction with regard to the uptake of electronic retail payment products. And in fact, we published on the 1st of November last year our updated guidance notes. Those will come into effect, ERPS2 as they're called, will come into effect on the 1st of February of this year.
Yes.
And Deputy Governor Livingstone Morrison can speak more to that, and we hope to have him speak on that issue further in terms of the details. But what we've also noticed among the indicators is that the movement towards MSME finance, while trending in the right direction, we have seen an increase in terms of private sector credit going to micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. We want to increase the flows of credit towards these segments. And in fact, the main highlight coming out of the annual report is the importance of data and segmenting micro entrepreneurs from small, from medium. With the new national definitions, we have a better understanding that the needs of each of those categories differ considerably. And so we are encouraging our financial institutions, especially our commercial banks and the microfinance institutions, to create tailored products to each of those segments because their needs are not the same.
Yes.
Their levels of formality and their own institutional capacity where they are on the curve differs. And so their need to finance their working capital changes.
But the differing needs and the peculiarities of each sector and the subsector, does that not put can I say undue? Yeah, that's a very good descriptor in this case. Does that not put an undue burden on the work that your office does?
Actually, here is where we really have to commend the work of the Ministry of Industry, Agriculture, Commerce and Fisheries, MICAF as we affectionately call them. That ministry has been at the vanguard of pushing a lot of initiatives designed to deliver products and services to micro and small entrepreneurs.
Yes.
For example, most recently, they have engaged in a research project, and you will hear more about this, focusing on informality and how to reduce informality. There's also been an ongoing effort, a partnership between MICAF and the IFC, the International Finance Corporation, part of the World Bank Group, designed to look at the Secure Transactions Regime, looking at SIPA, which is the Secured Interest in Personal Property Act, and how we can better leverage that through the National Registry. Also partnering with Bank of Jamaica and the Development Bank of Jamaica. We cannot underestimate the impact of the Development Bank of Jamaica in terms of actually engaging with the public. Most recently, DBJ wrapped up a project which they call FETA, Financial Empowerment Through Technology, and that was in partnership with the IDB, and they reached approximately 2,200 micro-entrepreneurs. And so what you find happening is that they are right there at the foreground, if you will, of engaging with persons and hearing their needs. And because they understand the reasons for informality and what may be the psychological barriers to using some of the financial services and products, that information is then passed to the Bank of Jamaica in its capacity both as coordinator of the National Financial Inclusion Strategy as well as regulator. So we have a better understanding. That informs our dialogue then with the banks. And of course, all of this is being led and coordinated from BOJ, but in tandem with the Ministry of Finance. So at the center of the circle, so to speak, is the Minister of Finance. And his direction helps to guide us as we seek to promote the work we're doing.
Excellent. You spoke earlier about trying to tailor the messages and trying to put the right message to the right target audience and then doing the work that is necessary to ensure that impact happens. Talk to me then about the broader communication strategy and outreach.
Well, I must commend our public relations team in Bank of Jamaica. There has been a concerted effort both internationally and in terms of our own national borders to actually have improved communication. So in terms of within Jamaica, we partner with the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. We reach out through radio programs such as your own.
Yes.
We also have had the benefit of having dialogue with some industry associations such as JAMFIN and JAMFA, which represent the microfinance institutions and actually have articles being published on financial inclusion, how it's relevant to their constituents. We also engaged in the development, and we must commend Mikey Bennett for this, the development of a jingle on financial inclusion.
Yes.
And of course, with Mr. George Hay, we were able to put together a fantastic animated public service announcement that should hit social media platforms as well as the TV airways, for want of a better term, soon. Internationally, we've had the benefit of partnering with the World Bank. We've presented at several conferences at the Global Youth Economic Forum, Opportunities Summit rather, and we presented on the National Financial Literacy Action Plan in September at that summit. And at the World Bank, we presented on the work we've done to implement the financial inclusion strategy in terms of moving forward for a digital economy. That was in December of this year.
Yeah.
So we're amping up the communication, and that whole process started in 2018. But as you would have seen from some of our more recent ads, which are not just related to financial inclusion, we are going out in numbers with the great rhythms, just backing us up as we deliver messages that make sense and hit the right notes with our people.
Yeah, to the world.
The world.
Yeah. Speak to me finally, Melanie, about brand ambassadors now that you're using to amplify the message.
So we have 2 brand ambassadors, and I'm just going to introduce them ahead of them joining you.
Yes.
Mr. Theodore Henry and Mr. Shauna Mullings. And these 2 brand ambassadors represent very, very unique perspectives of the typical Jamaican about financial inclusion and what's in it for them. Why should they care?
Why should they care?
You know, so Mr. Theodore Henry is an entrepreneur in his own right. He has engaged in social media development. He is a media specialist. And Mr. Shauna Mullings has had a number of programs designed to target interventions, financial education content with farmers, with the rural community, as well as with children. So she is also a motivational speaker and a life coach. And we're looking to have them speak to their own experiences engaging with the financial sector and why it matters to them and what they need to see in the economy to believe in what we are putting forward in the financial inclusion strategy.
Melanie, I could listen to you all day. You're mellifluous.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
That's it for Let's Talk Finance for this week. My guest, Melanie Williams, National Financial Inclusion Coordinator and lead in the Financial Inclusion Technical Secretariat for the National Financial Inclusion Council. That's it for Let's Talk Finance. I hope you come again.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a wonderful day.
Good.
That was Let's Talk Finance, brought to you by the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service.